Hey everybody, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video, and today we're going to be doing another pros and cons. If you checked out the first video I uploaded, it was the pros and cons of Iron Man Hot Toys. And we're going to continue the series today with another one, pros and cons of Spider-Man Hot Toys. I'm going to jump in and give you guys 3 pros and 3 cons to Spider-Man Hot Toys. Be sure to drop a like on this video, and please consider subscribing if this is in fact your first time. And more importantly, drop a comment on the video below and let me know your pros and cons to Spider-Man Hot Toys. If you haven't checked out the first video in this episode, I'll link it here above and in the description if you want to check out the Iron Man one. And this is going to be a continuation series. I'll be doing pros and cons on everything related to Hot Toys, including figures and other topics as well. So now jumping into the video, I'm going to be giving you 3 pros to Spider-Man Hot Toys, followed up with 3 cons. So the first pro is going to be the assortment of Spider-Man figures to actually choose from. Kind of like Iron Man, they're making a lot of different Spider-Man figures, including ones from MMS, TMS, all different versions, and also the video game series as well. So you can see here I have a couple figures here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 Spider-Man figures in the collection, not counting the villains. But we also know there's an enormous amount of figures that they've made. And what's great about the selection, if you've never bought one before, they really kind of have all the bases covered. You can go with your classic, MMS series where here's the Andrew Garfield or the Tom Holland. And I do have the Tobey Maguire on order from No Way Home. At the time of making this video. So you really can choose, you can get your 3 classic original, Spider-Man characters that were portrayed by those actors. Or if you want to do something a little bit different, you have the options of the PS5 Spider-Man. This is the original advanced suit that you see here, or the classic suit you can see behind him. Or if you want to go with even a more of a classic comic book look, we have here the classic, this is the exclusive Spider-Man. So the second pro, I would say, in terms of Spider-Man is going to be the affordability. Unlike Iron Man, which one of the cons I gave on that was the how much the Iron Man figures actually are. I would say on the flip side of that, Spider-Man's actually a pretty affordable character in terms of the actual price point. Typically, he ranges anywhere between $270, $300. You're gonna have your exclusives like this one here, or you're gonna get figures that come with the deluxe, like the Tobey deluxe. I know can range between $500 with the base and everything, but you can still get the regular version of him for $300. So I would say affordability is not bad, which allows you to kind of maybe expand your collection and buy multiple figures. Unlike Iron Man, where he ranges between $450 to $500 a figure, that might turn some people off where they can only afford maybe literally 1 or 2 Iron Man Hot Toys. But with Spider-Man being a little more affordable in price point, you could definitely pick up a few. And finally, the next pro, I'm going to say, is going to be the shelf presence. He's an iconic character, Spider-Man. I don't think Hot Toys is ever going to stop making this figure. And that being said, him, even coupled with the villains, it's a pretty impactful character, and you can do a lot of things in terms of, you can do museum poses like this, or you can do a little more, dynamic poses. So you really can play around with this character depending on how you want to pose him up and really have a more impactful display. The shelf that you see here is a little crowded. I will be redoing my cabinets, as I said multiple times, but even tucked away there is the Green Goblin, as you can see there. All right, guys, so getting into the cons. The first one is going to be the limitations of the figure. It's kind of ironic that Hot Toys creates a wildly dynamic character in 6-scale form, but yet as a collector you do have to have some wherewithal in terms of posing him and the limitations. Depending on these suits, it seems as though Hot Toys, they're striving for accuracy in terms of the appearance more than anything. And so as a collector, the first thing you want to do when you grab a Spider-Man figure is just pose it up as wildly dynamic as you can. But the problem that you can have, and you can kind of see here with the advanced suit, you can see the creases there in the suit ever so slightly, because that's what I was doing, posing him up You can see the creases in the knees and right there in the arms. However, I think it actually looks pretty nice on this particular suit. Kind of gives it a more worn-in look. But you really have to be careful. Like this classic suit Spider-Man, if you pose this up in really dynamic poses, it's very possible that the suit will start to stretch, creases, things like that, and cause potential damage to the suit. Yes, if you put the suit back in a museum pose over time, the suit will kind of stretch back a little bit. I just find it kind of, it's something to be have some wherewithal, so to speak, that you're dealing with a character that is kind of meant to be in very over dramatic posed poses, and yet you could also risk damaging the suit. So that's the first con, is the overall limitations of the figure in some form. All right, guys, so the next con is going to be something that I have with Hot Toys for a lot of figures, but it really affects Spider-Man a lot. And you won't see it on the shelf because I don't use them except for Electro. And that's going to be the Flight Dynamic Pole, or the crotch grabber. Now you kind of see it here working there with the classic suit, but it's holding up the Spider-Man sign. And I do have one on Electro, but once again, I mean, I think as collectors, if you've been collecting a lot of Hot Toys for a while, you know that the flight pole, or the, even Doc Ock has it as well. It's a pain in the ass, and honestly, it does more damage than good. I've seen people use them on Supermans and things like that, and you have to like pad them, because leaving it on the figure for too long could actually cause damage digging into the suit and digging into the figure. So it's kind of ironic that they still use the same old flight poles and the waist clamps. It has numerous names. But using it on a dynamic figure like Spider-Man can actually cause damage to the figure. And it's something that I've been really trying to, I wish Hot Toys, that's like one of the biggest things I wish Hot Toys would revamp. It's a cheap piece, so I don't think they're going to do anything with it. I mean, it is what it is. But it's very ironic, that once again, that flight pole, crotch waist grabber, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely a con. I don't use them on any Spider-Mans just because it runs the risk of damaging the figure. I've used them for maybe a quick photo, but it's never something you'll see on my Spider-Man figures personally. So that's my second con, is the packaged, the flight pole waist grabber that comes with the figures. And now the third con, which might sound a little contradicting to one of the pros that I gave, because I did say that a pro for the figure is that there's a lot there to choose from as a collector. But the flip side to that, which I'm going to make it a con also, is this becoming the next Iron Man? Because we know Hot Toys has made a lot of Iron Man figures. As I stated in my previous video, they made over 80 of them, and they're not going to stop making them. But the fact is, a lot of people are thinking that, they're starting to go down the path of Spider-Man's becoming the new Iron Man. Obviously, there was and I don't mean to make the connection in the movies, because obviously in the movies, a lot of Tom Holland's suits were made by Iron Man, so they had that tech. But in what I refer to as, they are pumping out a lot of Spider-Man figures, in terms of the original 3 actors, the classic comic book version here, and then honestly, they really haven't tapped, as of making this video, they really haven't tapped into the Spider-Man 2 PS5 game, which they can give us 10 plus suits out of that. So a lot of collectors feel that when Spider-Man figures come out, they really got to mean something. Otherwise, Hot Toys is kind of treating it like an Iron Man figure, where they're just kind of repackaging and whipping stuff out. Pretty much every few months it seems like we're getting a new figure, or at least a couple times a year. So that's something to be kind of dangerous of, because it can kind of oversaturate the character when they start making figures, and then what happens is that they just start sitting. I mean, you can see there's figures on Sideshow that are still sitting, that they're buy one get one 50% off, or they're part of daily deals. So I mean, is Spider-Man turning into another Iron Man? I'm gonna leave that up to you in the comments below to let me know. But like I said, guys, that's my pros and cons on Spider-Man Hot Toys. Drop a like on this video. Please consider subscribing if this is your first time. As always, drop a comment on this video and let me know what your pros and cons are. Do you agree with mine? Obviously, there's probably a lot more that I haven't chose. So definitely drop a comment below and let me know what your pros and cons are. And until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.